What are you doing down here? It looks like we're going to talk about my shoes. That sounds really annoying for both of us. Welcome to my floor. This is gonna be like a shoe collection video. Also probably a declutter because I do not wear a lot of these shoes. And I think I need to be realistic. Not that I'm trying to be a minimalist. Like, I'm not gonna get rid of but we have some things I can certainly talk myself through. Like, that's certainly a thing that we can figure out together. There's like a story behind each shoe. I buy a lot of shoes when I travel, which is such a weird and ridiculous thing to do when you're traveling. So I think we'll start with my newest shoes that don't have much story to them whatsoever. These are a pair of slides from Crocs. They're neon. I just bought these not that long ago and I'm really obsessed with them. I just haven't had a reason to wear them out yet. And I'm excited for that. I bought them for summer, as well as this other pair of platform Crocs. Now, one should note, if you are interested in a Croc scenario, these ones you cannot do sport mode on, and also there are no holes for gibbets. And if you are going to be a gibbet wearer, then perhaps do not buy this style. This still has the holes for gibbets, and you can choose to go into sport mode if you'd like. This is all terminology I've heard other people say about Crocs. It's not really the terminology that I would use, but if you know, you know. You can like flip-flop that. And honestly, it's nice that I haven't worn these out yet because they still smell like new Crocs. They kind of have that smell of like a jelly or like a new sports ball, like kind of like opening up a tennis ball pack of sorts. And we're gonna keep those. I think next, let's talk about the two pairs of rain boots I have. So I have two pairs of hunter boots and they are both wedges. So this is pair 1 and this is a size 10. And I don't know what I was thinking buying a US size 10 because I wear a size 11 in women's. These are too small for my feet. And there's something about a rain boot that's really scary. And it's when it suctions around the calf of your leg. Like my calf fits in here. This has a little bit of stretch to it, which is nice, but it suctions my leg and I feel like I'm going to get a blood clot and die. So I am going to declutter these. I actually got these for free because I ordered them for Lollapalooza. And now I'm wondering if they also sent me the wrong size. But it's also possible that I was really hell-bent on just having them. And I bought these for Lollapalooza and they didn't come in time. And I wasn't even given the option. Here's me complaining about something that happened almost a decade ago. They didn't even give me the option of expedited shipping, which I was going to pay for because I wanted them in time for Lollapalooza because I went in 2016 and I don't know if that was like a notoriously rainy year, but it was very rainy that year. So I was trying to prepare. So these didn't come in time and I complained and then they gave them to me for free. They refunded me. But these free shoes are going to find a new home. Put them back into the world, allow someone else to buy them for inexpensive from like Goodwill or something. Then I have these pair of hunter booties and they are also like kind of like a platform clog. And I was in Chicago and I went into a Nordstrom rack and I bought these. And these are a little different than a regular hunter boot. It's kind of like a neoprene up here. And they are like this obnoxious orange color. They are surprisingly comfortable, but also I was walking around for 4 days straight, all day, every day in these at a music festival, which is not something I would recommend you do, and I don't know how I survived it. I remember Sunday night, was it the last day? It was the second to last day. So it was the third day of Lollapalooza. So this was the first year that they did 4 nights for Lollapalooza. Radiohead was playing it, and I enjoy Radiohead to an extent, but they're not my favorite band. But my friend I was there with, it's her favorite band. I felt like I was dying halfway through. I was so tired because it's hard. Music festivals are hard to get through. And I was in my mid-20s when I was at that. So I can't imagine doing a music festival now in my 30s. Anyway, I would. If someone wants to send me to Coachella, feel free. Or Lollapalooza. I love Lolla. I don't have to go this year, but I don't wear these often. And normally when it rains, I choose to go with like my Sorel combat boots, which we'll get to in a moment. Back to the Radiohead story. I felt like I was dying. I remember getting into the lobby of the Airbnb because it was like a condo situation and taking off my shoes, getting in the elevator and literally like almost crawling back to our room. And our room was the furthest away from the elevator that it possibly could be. And I like crawled in and I was like, what have I done? And then I proceeded for Sunday to wear these all around. doesn't really serve me anymore. I would sooner wear my combo boots even in the summer, even though they're like a winter shoe. I would wear those in the rain before I would wear these. So I think it's also okay to give up the ghost on these. Oh, look at that. That's 2 pairs of shoes decluttered. So I think maybe since these are kind of in front of me to talk about these, but I'll grab all of the sister pairs as well. Also, holding your shoes up is a really weird thing to do because it's like I've walked around outside in all of these and I'm like just holding them in my hands, very cash. These are from a brand called Native Shoes, and they're essentially Crocs, but not Crocs. And there's very little, very little keeping your feet from touching the ground. But I can walk all day in these. The only thing that really grinds my gears is that sometimes when I'm sweaty, this part like will blister my heel, but it doesn't if it's a cool day and my feet aren't super sweaty, it doesn't do that. They came in sparkle, and then this is actually a material that if a flash hits it, it like flashes back, which is kind of cool, except who's taking pictures of my feet with flash? I don't know. And I have these yellow pairs. I've been wearing these for I think about 5 years. I bought my first pair in 2019. Devastating news for all of those of you who are like, wow, I really love the way that this shoe looks. They don't, I need to clean the toes of this shoe. In fact, actually, that was so gross that I just looked into the toe of the shoe. How gross it was. I'm so grossed out. I hate it. I hate that I saw that. But what's great about these is that they are waterproof. And I bought them to go on a beach wedding the first time I bought a pair. I was going to be on the beach for a wedding, and I was like, oh, I need a waterproof shoe to be just in case my feet get wet. And then it became a staple in my shoe wear. So yeah, like I said, I've gone through a couple pairs of these. I've gone through 2 black sparkly pairs, and I only have a silver pair now, and they're great. And I would buy more, but the brand does no longer makes this style, which is a bummer. I'm sure you can find it on the secondhand market, but also like, as I just said, there's a lot of scary stuff happening in the toes of these shoes, which makes me relieved that these are open-toed Crocs. I hope they bring them back. Native, call me. Let's do a collab. I mean, I don't really want to do a collab. I just really need you to bring these back, because the thing is, I will wear these to death. I will wear them to death. So that's practical. I'm keeping all 3 pairs. As you can see, I love a yellow shoe because that's not the last pair of yellow shoes. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. These rub together, the heels, and that material rubbing together. Oh my God, sensory overload. Should we talk docks next? Because I have 3 pairs of docks. I used to have 4. RIP to that 1 pair that I no longer have. I actually wore a pair out. The pair that I just mentioned, the ones I wore out, they were the perfect shoe for me. They were the perfect shoe for me. They were patent leather, black and sparkly, and they don't make this style anymore. And it had the ribbon laces like this pair has ribbon laces. I wore them every day. I wore them every day. From like 2012 to like 2019. I wore them every day. They were so good to me. Like, I wore them so much. They were my favorite pair of shoes I ever had. I bought them when I know that I don't have the shoe, but I feel like I should tell you the story because this is how much I miss them. So I bought them in 2012, or maybe it was 2013. And I went to Philadelphia to see Jessie wear for the first time. And they had a Doc's store, which Pittsburgh does not have like a freestanding Doc Martens store. And I walked in and they had these shoes and they were perfect. And like Doc Martens are no joke. They're super expensive. And I was like, gotta have them. And I bought them. I wish I would have bought 3 pairs, because I want to still be wearing that shoe. And the other thing about Docs is they're so hard to break in. And then they're the most, there's a sock in there. Oh my God, there's a sock in there. Was there a sock in this one? That was so scary. I was scared. And they're so comfortable once you break them in, but that takes some work. But those shoes were so cute that I put in the work. The thing about a lot of the pairs of Docs that I have currently are not as cute and not like something I'm wearing every day. So I never really have broken them in. I do think if you are interested in buying Docs, if you get one with more slack leather, like this pair right here, these are like purple with a floral fabric inside. And the way that the store displayed this style was like this, with it like flopped over, because it's pretty tall if you take it out. And like these have been folded forever, so they're gonna have like a kink in them. And like, while I don't dislike this height of boot, because there's no zipper on this style of dock, it's impossible. I have to unlace it and then relace it every day. And guess what? I'm not doing that. It's hard enough to get me to want to like get my foot in there like this. But this was like the second pair of docks I ever had. And I've definitely bought these ones from 6PM, which, if you're not familiar with 6PM, I don't really know what its deal is, but I buy a lot of shoes on there pretty heavily discounted. And these were like half off, and I love the ribbon laces. I don't even know if they sell the ribbon laces anymore. Like, they used to be able to just buy the ribbon laces to like put on any of your docks. Of the docks I have left, this is probably the most comfortable pair, but it is the ones that I wear the least. I don't know why I choose to never wear them, because I think I'm just more about slipping my feet into a shoe these days. And like, this is like a whole, I just sit down and tie them. And I just like, I hate that. So these are a potential departure. And then I kind of made it a tradition to buy Docs when I would travel if there was a Doc Martens store. This pair of Doc Martens I bought in Chicago when I was going to visit my friend Ben, who I went to college with in Chicago. And that trip, we also went to a concert. We went to go see Moo. I think that's how you pronounce it. She did Cold Water with Justin Bieber, if you recall that song, but that was before she did that, and she wasn't super popular, and she played a very small venue in Chicago. Anyway, I bought these there, and what I liked about them is that the fabric on the inside is like this floral, but there are also skulls in it, and it's giving very like Alexander McQueen scarf, which I really love. And then what I really like about these is that the suede, they are suede, which is hard to wear suede in Pittsburgh because it's always raining. These are a fair weather boot, which is also funny because they're a warm boot. And I'm not opposed to wearing Docs in the summer, but you do have to wear long socks. And as a millennial, it's like, I can't bring myself to do that. Sorry, Gen Z. But I really like the slouchy look on this as opposed to this. Like, there's too much fabric on this. This is a shorter boot, but I really like these. But the gunmetal suede is really what takes these over the top. The suede is distressed, like the toes messed up because apparently I can't pick up my feet whenever I walk, which is a big problem when you're wearing any shoe, but specifically a suede shoe. I like how they're distressing well. So I definitely love those. And then these I bought, if you're in the Pittsburgh area and you're familiar, I bought these from Lidl's back in the day, maybe in 2016, but this wasn't a trip. So obviously, if I was like, I live in Pittsburgh, I bought these in Pittsburgh. And I used to work at the European Wax Center right next door, if you're familiar with that part of the street. And these are the shoes that, bar none, I get the most compliments on. And I'm fairly certain that these are like a permanent style in Doc Martens. Like, they always have the hot pink patent leather. By far, bar none, the most uncomfortable pair of Doc Martens. And I do think it is to do with the patent leather. And the other thing about the patent leather is I don't really like the way it distresses. So this one's more distressed, and right where like whenever my toe bends, it's starting to like lift up, and then you can kind of like see some white, and I don't really love that, but I'm not done with them. I'm just letting you know they're super. I'm glad you like the way they look. I always get compliments on here whenever I wear them, and also in real life. So I'm not done wearing them because like they get good mileage. Like I like wearing them. They just hurt my feet. So we'll keep those. The declutter part's not going very well. Well, let's do a shoe with less of a story. I just recently bought these. These are some walking shoes from, I think it's Ryka. It's R-Y-K-A. And I basically went on to Zappos, and then I arranged things by walking shoe best rated, and Hoka's were #1, and that's what a lot of people recommended, and these were just like the second most recommended, and they're great. Actually, I really like them because I walk on a treadmill whenever I do my 9 to 5, and there's a lot of padding back here, which is a big problem. As I mentioned, I get blisters from these sometimes on the back of my heel. No blisters with these. I can slip it on. Another bonus point, and I am feeling in here, it has formed to my foot, and it kind of feels like walking on a cloud. I am like weary of that because I definitely had shoes at one point that I paid a lot of money for that had like air like it was like, I don't know what way, another way to describe them other than like inflatable furniture looking air bubbles. It kind of feels like that, but doesn't look like that. But I really like walking in them. They're super comfortable. Like, I can't complain. The one thing I don't like about them, they're kind of like a sock shoe. Like, there's no tongue to these shoes. It basically means that like there's not a lot of support left or right. So I do dance cardio classes. I do the fitness marshal, if you're familiar with him. I don't really love them for that, but they're the only pair of tennis shoes I have. So the next time I buy tennis shoes, whenever these kind of wear out, I will have to keep that in mind that I need a more structured side rather than it being like a sock shoe. If I was only wearing these to walk in, I think they'd be like A+, but I do need my tennis shoes to do both. And I wonder if there's a different style that Rika makes that will satisfy that. Now, when I did get the box of this, it said designed for like women in mind. So I'm not really sure what's different about our biological feet. This is a wide shoe, which is the first time I ever actually opted for a wide, which was smart. These ones don't really have any kind of story behind them. These are a pair of Fila's and they're just platform shoes. And I was really just trying to live a Spice Girls fantasy. Honestly, in worser weather, like if it's drizzling a little bit, instead of wearing these, I'll wear these. I like to go dancing in these too. They have a pretty good support for being like a fashion shoe. So big fan of these. Love to wear these to the mall. Spice Girls fantasy, full stop, love. I think it's time for me to part ways with these. These are just a pair of neon pumps. They're unbranded. I can't believe that they've held up this long. I think I bought these to do drag in 2016. And I've worn them out a couple more times. I'm not really wearing a heel anymore. It's not that I'll never buy a heel again. I think there would be a heel that I'd be willing to suffer for, but I think I'm good on suffering in this particular pair. I love a neon shoe. I don't know if you've like caught that with that, and then the crocs. There's a lot happening as far as like neon goes. But like being a heavier person wearing a heel, unless you're wearing like a chunky heel, which I will do. I love heels. I love to wear heels. I love the way my legs look. I love how long it like makes my body look. I love that. I think like this kind of stiletto style is maybe a little bit, it's in the past, if I lose a ton of weight, which I would never just like lose a ton of weight simply to wear heels, but like for some reason that would happen, I'd be back in the heels in a second, babe. Because I love them. I wore these to a farm wedding, which I didn't know was a farm wedding. It wasn't on the invitation. And I certainly, and if you don't know this, it's really hard to walk on grass in high heels, especially stilettos. The stiletto just went through the grass and I just certainly fell right on my back. And it was so funny because it was like I was waiting for my Uber. Yes, I tried to Uber from a farm and it did work because I was like in the greater DC area. So someone had the time and I tipped him very well. To go back to my Airbnb, also in the middle of nowhere. Why did I go to that wedding? What was I doing? I'm not ready to talk about these yet. I don't think I'm ready to talk about these yet because I think I know my truth in them, but I don't like my truth in them. This is another pair of like kitten heels and it's like a little suede booty. I'm not particularly attached to them and I wore the heck out of them for a long time. And I think it's just time to go. I don't think I paid a lot of money for these shoes. They're not particularly well constructed. This faux suede is like lifting and being messed up. I think I bought these to replace another pair of shoes. RIP to these little booties. I had this pair of booties. I don't even remember where I bought them from. They might have been from Zara, which I'm not buying from Zara anymore, but like at the time it was like 2013. I bought these booties. They were faux suede and they had this gold chain that I went around the heel. And it wasn't a big heel. It was just like maybe like an inch or two heel. And it wasn't like it was a thick, chunky booty. I wore those shoes exactly one time. And it was the first and only time I wore them to the South Side. If you're not familiar with the Pittsburgh area, the South Side about a decade ago was where really young people would go to party. Like the people who just turned freshly 21, because it's full of like nightclubs. I went out with a group of girls that I worked with. I blacked out before we got there. And when I woke up the next day, my shoes were beyond messed up and I can't even begin to imagine what happened. And the girls who were there that night have very, very kindly kept whatever happened that night to themselves. These are kind of funny. So this is a pair of shoes that I bought off of Alibaba in like 2017, and I wouldn't do that today, but this was a knockoff of Burberry shoes. And the only reason I know that is because I searched for these dupes high and low. When I graduated from college, which I graduated from Southern New Hampshire University, no mind to you, we went to Boston and we stayed in Boston, like me and a bunch of my friends and my family. We stayed in Boston, we went shopping in Boston, we went into Burberry in Boston. And the dupe of the real version of this shoe was standing there, and I could not, I kept coming back to it as if I somehow had like the hundreds of dollars to spend on a shoe I would never wear. So I spent $50 on a pair of shoes I very rarely wear. Now, they do need a little bit of fixing. There's a hole on the back of this sock boot, which seems like an easy fix that for, I don't know, 5 years I haven't done, but I have worn them with the hole because I don't really care that much. And these are incredibly uncomfortable, but they're so unique. I am inclined to keep them. But it was really hard, and I'm sure it's even harder now to find like a specific dupe for a fashion item that's like currently out. Like, I don't think they make this style of the shoe with like the circle heel. And the other thing is, because they're not incredibly well made, the heels are like the slightest of different heights, and it makes it really hard to keep my balance. And it's kind of already hard to keep my balance in high heels, so it's like double trouble when I'm wearing these. So a sitting shoe for those, but I like them. And I can get to point A and point B in them. It's just like, I'd rather be sitting. And you guys have to think I'm ridiculous at this point. I've talked about sitting outfits and standing outfits. There's reasoning, there's purpose behind me telling that to you. Like, that's a real thing. I have these little flat shoes from Steve Madden. I bought them for the same wedding that I bought all the other shoes, like the beach wedding, because I wasn't sure if I would rather wear a sandal. I've been more than happy to give these up. They are so incredibly uncomfortable. They're so incredibly uncomfortable. They're a little tight on my foot whenever I put them in there. And although I just showed you 2 pairs of croc sandals where my toes would be out, I just don't love my toes being out in a shoe as I sit here barefoot. I don't know why I'm so weird about it. It's mostly because I feel like I don't cut my toenails very well, and I won't pay to have my toes done. And so I'm at this standstill where I'm like, don't look at my toenails. Don't look at them. On to 2 pairs of platform shoes. So this is a heel that I can still wear to this day because it's big and chunky and it's a platform. So these look really intimidating, except it's like there's not as much difference in height on a platform as there is with like a stiletto. Like my foot was much more uncomfortable in that than they are in these. And this, I think I have some goth girly followers who might wear shoes like this. On all of my platform heels I've ever had, this happens where it like lifts in the back. Should I take it to a cobbler, or is there like a at-home solution? My hairstylist is a girly pop who would wear something like this, and she told me to like basically gorilla glue it back together and like clamp it. But my concern with that is that this shoe, just like these, are the kind of shoe that like whenever light hits them, it reflects the light back. And I've only actually worn them out a couple of times because this lifting started kind of quickly and I got nervous. But it looks like it was just glued on at the beginning. I'm worried if I glue it back on that the glue's gonna seep over and like ruin the effect. I say as like they're not in pristine condition at all. The only reason I don't have more shoes in this style is because of that problem. And they're like not as heavy as you'd think they'd be. I love wearing these. I just need to fix them or get them fixed. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. Was there a purpose to buying these? No. They were on sale and I was like, bet. And they had my size. A lot of times, specialty shoes like this will stop at a size 10 in women's. And this brand will occasionally make 11s. And they sell out so fast. So it's very rare that they make it to the sale page because all the other people with big feet for women, I say that all with air quotes, just so you know, they snag them up. So you have to be really on your zhuzh if you're gonna try to get a shoe like that. It's happening to these Jeffrey Campbells. Oh no, it's not. Why did I think it was happening to these? Bought these shoes for Lollapalooza and I wore them. I wore them to see DJ Laser's after show, which is, if DJ Laser is, oh my God, what's his name? Diplo. It's like Diplo and other people. And it was one of the after parties at Lollapalooza. And I went wearing these. And that's the first time I like went to like a DJ set. And I just learned very quickly that maybe I don't need to go to a Diplo set. It's not that it wasn't fun. I just wasn't like prepared for what it was. But at one point, Diplo was like, everybody take your shirts off. And like everyone took their shirts off. And I was like, I don't feel welcome here. And they're these patent leather Jeffrey Campbell's, and like they have this like wood and then rubber. I find these like really hard to wear with something. It's the brown and the black, which is like, I don't mind that being like a thing. I know that some people don't like brown and black together. It's really the height of the booty. Although I have been wearing mini skirts more recently, like that like pleather mini skirt. So maybe like I need to consider wearing these for that because they're actually pretty comfortable. The sizing's pretty good. Jeffrey Campbell is another brand that only sometimes make their shoes in 11s. And I like these. I think also when I was pulling on them, the one started sounding like I would have been able to pull them apart. So I am a little bit concerned about that, but we'll see. So these are from Sorel. These are booties, combat boots from Sorel. Sorel is my favorite weatherproof shoe. And I had a pair of wedge booties from them that I wore for a really long time. And then the waterproofing, like I think I broke, like something here broke and then the water started getting into them. But there was like, I would say I had them for 8 years before like that happened. And then this is what I replaced them with. I did like the wedges. I love a wedge. I'm not gonna lie, I love a wedge. But I also am into a combat booty. And the wedges looked more like they were made for winter, whereas these kind of like fall, and I could wear these in the summer if I really wanted to. They're pretty pricey, but every pair I've had of Sorels have lasted me quite a bit of time. And like I've been really putting the work into these because, you know, I talked about the sparkly black dogs being the shoe I wear all the time. Like once fall hits, I stop wearing these and I just start wearing this most of the time. So they've definitely gotten their money's worth. I think I've had them for like 3 or 4 years at this point. And not only that, there's a zipper on the side, which if I buy a boot, it has to have a zipper on the side. It just makes my life so much easier. Maybe we can do these ones next. We'll do, oh, they weren't even in frame. You couldn't even see them. So these are rhinestone shoes. I don't know what's happening with this brand, but this brand is Sparkle Fairy Couture is the website I bought these off of. And these are a thigh high. They go right above the knee or like right at the knee. So maybe knee high. I don't, they go a little above the knee, I think. If I'm remembering correctly. They kind of go right over the knee where the knee hinges. I love these. I bought these to see Shawn Mendes. If you recall, these were purchased in the time I've been running my channel. And then that concert got canceled, and then I was going to wear them to see Beyonce, and then Beyonce canceled her concert. And then so then I was like, these are really bad luck shoes. But then I did finally wear them to something, and I can't remember what I wore them to, but it was a very lovely evening that I finally wore these to. And then I've worn them out dancing a couple of times. The only thing is drunk me, even in a heel chunky as this, get a little uneasy, a little bit topsy-turvy. But you can pry these out of my dead cold hands, even if I don't wear them all that much. They are perfect. And from the same brand, I got these. I got these to wear to Chapel Roan, and I did. I did not break them in, and my feet hurt so bad. Like, they're not as specific. Like, the thigh-high boots, those are, like, pretty well constructed. I don't feel, like, uneasy. These feel, like, a little less well constructed. Like, they're pretty light. They do have the zipper down the side. I think I just need to wear these more. Like, I think in the fall, I'll probably bust these out quite a bit. And that leaves me with like 2 more pairs of shoes I should get rid of, but I'm probably not. These are my first pair of Jeffrey Campbell's. They're these brown, ugly, they're so ugly. And I don't even think they're the right size. I think they're a little small. Yeah, these are a size 10. I bought these to go on my first trip to New York City. And I walked around the whole danged city in these in January. And I love them. I love the leather. Except they are too small for me. So I think I need to give up the ghost on these. Like, I won't wear them. I'll wear my other Jeffrey Campbell's because they actually fit. But I definitely, like, squished my foot into these. They're just like, I have such fond memories of these shoes, but they did always hurt my feet pretty badly whenever I wore them. But like, they're just such a moment in time. Like, I wore them in Chicago when I lived there. Never did they ever get more comfortable. I think I had this delusion, even though that they were just too small, that if I wore them enough, the leather would like stretch and form and it would be fine. Okay, I'm gonna declutter these. I'm gonna declutter these. I'm so sad. I don't want to. The point of this declutter isn't to make more space. I keep my shoes at the bottom. Like, I live in the basement. My room, like where I'm right now, we're in the basement. So I keep my shoes like right at the bottom of the stairs and they're always in disarray. And I was like, I can't have all of these. I simply don't wear all of them. It's like, what is the point of all of these? If I'm like, why do I have all of these? And so I think it's time to just get rid of my Jeffrey Campbells. Oh my God. And this is the last pair of shoes. These are an event shoe. I don't know if they're charged enough for me to display what they can do. Yeah, so they light up. And these are also from Alibaba. So Ashish is a designer and he did a runway show and he had shoes just like this in the runway show where they like lit up. And I think light up shoes are a little more common now than they were when I bought these in 2015 or 14. I wore them to disclosure. My feet hurt so bad. And then we got invited to the after party. And I was wearing them in the after party and I was trying to keep up. We were dancing and like there was this cute boy we were talking with. We like met this group of people and like it was like very, very fun. And then I turned to my friend I was with. I was like, I have to go. My feet hurt so bad. And we like requested an Uber and I took off my shoes. I got into an Uber with no shoes, which so sorry to that person. I'm sure my feet really stunk. And then the next day, every single one of my toes was black and blue. And I proceeded to walk around Philadelphia for the next couple of days with my bruised ass toes. I think I broke every single one of my toes that night. And I just dealt. I never got them checked out. Like my feet were in so much pain. They were black and blue for like 6 months. Like, and I like that sounds like an exaggeration, but like they were not right. And I think also some blood got underneath my toenails. Okay, so here's the thing. Hear me out. I'm gonna allow myself to keep these. They're not well-made shoes. Again, I bought these on Alibaba just to dupe off the Ashish shoes. And I'm fairly certain the shoes that Ashish used were like a fashion shoe. It's not his brand of shoe. If I can find like clips from that or photos from that runway, just so you can see like how obsessed I was, like so obsessed with these. They're so of the era. I loved these. And I've worn them out since. I took them to my friend's wedding and I wore them on the dance floor, but then I also had other shoes that I wore not on the dance floor, so that, I could give my feet a break. But I'm allowing myself just to keep a pair of ridiculous shoes. Like, come on. How cool are they? And like, they're just not well made, and so it's not like it would serve another person's purpose. So they're my little trinket. They're my little gift to me for making it through the shoe declutter. Who knew that I would have this many stories about shoes? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you're sitting there at home like, I knew. Tom could talk about anything for any amount of time like they wanted. So that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are new to my channel and you are watching, well, hi. My channel is mostly a makeup channel, but I've been dabbling in fashion content and also fragrance content, and I do it all with the same ethos. I try to help myself and help you build the habit of being more discerning about what we're buying and how much we're buying, because a lot of times the stuff that they're selling us is stuff that we already have. So learning to love and appreciate what we already have before making a purchase. And it's not to say that we're never going to make purchases for fun and do all of that, but we're going to try to make the best decisions that we can before we make those purchases. So if that sounds good to you, I would love to have you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships if you would like to check those out. No pressure to you. I just do some additional content over there. It just helps the channel run, helps me buy makeup for review. So if you want to do that, feel free to check that out. But it's not a better way to support me. It's just a different way to support me. Liking, commenting, and sharing my videos is the best way to help me. And also, if you just simply don't want to, that's also okay. But link down below, I also have a link to help a family in Gaza that I got from Operation Olive Branch. please check that out. If you have the means to help, please help. And that's going to wrap up the video. Remember to follow your hope and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. I started talking like Samantha from Sex and the City. Go forth. It's out. We were watching Sex and the City for a little bit of time, and we decided that I'm a Samantha, but not because I'm a slut. It's because I will say, because Samantha says some pretty heinous and ridiculous stuff on that show, like mean stuff to her friends. And it's like, I do that. Not in the stereotypical way where like a gay man, you know, just says stuff to be mean, in the way that I think I'm being helpful. Because I'm just telling you how I see it. And the worst part about this fact about me is that I don't even know that I'm doing it. Like, I will say that stuff and I won't remember that I've said it. Okay, thumbnail.